Okay.
Hello, Miss Kate.
Hello, how are you?
I am pretty cotton picking good. How about yourself?
Truthfully, couldn't be better.
That's good. That's good. That's the way we like it. And we hope all of y'all are the same. We got Camping Chris behind the camera there, cameraman Chris behind the camera. So we got the crew ready to go here, and so we are going to discuss puppies because Kate has got her first puppy in a year or two. I'm raising my first puppy in 7 or 8 years.
My first puppy in probably 30 years.
Oh, wow, that's right. Yours were adults.
That's right.
Woo! And we both got the holes to prove it. All right? So
Actually,
you're
lots of bruises, but that's normal.
Yeah.
No
yeah.
punctures.
No punctures.
No punctures.
And how many of you out there would like to be able to say the same? Every one of you. So, a little background a little bit. If you saw the first presentation we did on puppies with Kate. Katie, what's the name of the course you took? The puppy
Puppy culture.
Puppy culture. And I would strongly, highly recommend it to anybody. It's got some. I still haven't been able to get all the way through it, but boy, I'm about 2/3 of the way, and it's good stuff. Kate took that to heart, studied it. It's all the most, I guess, up to date, sort of scientific things that there is to know about raising pups. And so she's sort of took it on, and she's in charge of our puppy program for the Western Shepherd project. We send everybody home with her wisdom about how to start their pups. She's the go-to person if they have a problem with their pup. And we got to thinking, we might as well, if you see how well behaved her dog is, and first, as she said, first puppy she's had in 30 years, well, there's some good information here. So with all that said, I'm going to let Kate take it over and start off. The thing I like most about puppy culture, I've told people for years and years and years that in my opinion, we teach our dogs to jump on us. When they're puppies, they come up, they put their little paws on our feet, and then they come up, and we pick them up, and then a little bit higher. And so, as some of you who may know me well know, I every now and then at odds with behaviorists and scientists. But this time, thanks to Kate, the behaviorists came through and didn't say I was right about that, but there was a better way to teach a dog to never do that. And I'm going to let Kate explain this part about getting your dog to sit when they meet you.
We started off with the puppies, and puppy culture in their videos and their workbooks, they teach you, they call it manding, M-A-N-D-I-N-G. And that was with a whole litter of puppies, teaching them to sit and ask permission for anything. Literally, the first time I got the puppies to all sit and wait, it's a polite way of them saying, may I? Whether it's to be petted or to get a treat or to get a toy, that's what we worked with them. I almost did somersaults the first time I got 9 puppies to mand all at the same time. So I was pretty excited. All of these things made a huge difference with these puppies.
Yeah.
With Chaos, who's over here running around the floor, she knows nothing happens. She doesn't get to go outside until she sits at the door. She doesn't get to come back inside until she sits at the door. She does have a unique way of, because I've got 4 other dogs at the house, I crate her to feed her puppy chow, and she's got a unique way of going into her crate, but she does it. She goes by way of jumping on the couch first and then dives into the crate. But she also knows that to come out of the crate, she has to sit. A few nights ago, she decided she didn't want to do that, so I just walked away. I wasn't going to keep repeating the command. I just walked away, went and made my dinner, had another cup of coffee, and then came back, and she sat as I approached the crate. So then she was able to come out. I told her okay, and it was good.
Very important. I'll say something about that here in a minute, because I'm really glad you said that, because that's a really important thing for people to learn. So how did you get her into this manding position? How do you get her to start automatically sitting whenever you need her to do stuff?
No response. She wants attention. She doesn't get it unless she sits. And I did that with all 9 puppies. And from the feedback I'm getting from everybody that took a puppy home, it's made a huge difference. The puppies are asking, may I, before they do anything. Now, I'm sure, depending on the owners, the people that follow through with what I started, they're going to have great puppies. Ones that don't aren't.
Not so much.
Yeah, not so much.
Yeah.
I truthfully, for those of you that know me, know I was truthfully just dreading the idea of raising another puppy. Kiss my furniture goodbye. Everything about it was just, I just expected a disaster. I was no longer on my 40-acre ranch. There was going to be issues. And that's changed. She's a delight. We have literally next to no issues. I leave her alone in the house with free reign of my living room and dining room with 4 other dogs while I'm at work, which means I'm gone minimum 10 hours a day, usually closer to 12. I am going to have to replace a coffee table, but that's okay. But I really decided before I made my decision to keep a puppy out of Harmony's litter, I wasn't going to keep a puppy crated all day while I was gone at work. That's just cruel. So I made the decision that I'd rather replace a table, possibly my couch, and have a well-adjusted puppy in 6 months, 9 months, that it would be worth the money to have a good dog. And so far so good. Knock on wood.
There you go. And it's now on the manding, to get them, the process of getting them used to asking, may I? You sort of just whenever they present the opportunity by sitting in front of you, you just sort of mark the behavior. Is that the idea? How did you get them into that?
Well, I'll be honest. It was a bit of a cluster at first. But any of you that have raised puppies and you've got them in a whelping box and you go close to the pen, you're going to have 8, 9, 10, however many puppies you have, standing up on the rails, fighting for attention from you. And you just ignore them. You just stand there until they kind of give up and sit down. Once they sit down, then you reach over and pet the puppies that are sitting. The ones that are still standing up, asking for attention that way, you would totally and completely ignore them. The ones that have a little more trouble with that, you work with them one-on-one.
So essentially she's going to go back to the puppy culture videos, which is scientifically developed, and they're following the original father, I guess, modern psychology, B.F. Skinner, and that very powerful phrase, I believe, an action successfully completed is more likely to be repeated. Kate doesn't give what we normally do when the puppy crawls up on the edge of that whelping box. We think, oh, you're so cute. And puppies learn, hey, if I jump on stuff, I get attention. And what Kate's doing is making the opposite successful. So that's goes leaps and bounds to having as calm a dog as you've got right there.
She's amazing. I told you I'm comparing the differences between her and Harmony, and it's like, I was almost concerned because she was so calm and mellow. I'm not used to that big off switch. And she's, it doesn't mean she doesn't go out in the yard and raise Cain with Harmony and the other dogs, or race around the living room with whatever new toy of the day it is. But she, 99% of the time, you'll find her, she's asleep at my feet.
Yeah. I've noticed that when you bring them out here for our Saturday obedience classes, and I can actually look at the people who come out with their pups and tell how much engagement they've had with their dogs,
right,
by the way their pups are acting at the time. So it pays off early. There's this type of training that they're doing with puppy culture was actually I was first introduced to it back in the 1970s. There was a gentleman whose name I will never remember and whose book I lost decades ago. But he had a book and he claimed he was, there you go, baby. He claimed he was training the New York City Police Department dogs, and he trained them all with this system. No sleeves or suits needed, no equipment needed. Train your puppy to do all their obedience, no leash, no collar, nothing. And I've since this time learned of some high accomplished world-class trainers doing things like cow herding that use a similar system. I call it incidental training. And that's essentially what the puppy culture folks were doing. So you catch the dog doing a behavior you want, and you mark that behavior.
Right.
So what this guy's system was, you have your puppy, and they sit, like Katie mentioned, you go good puppy. When you want them to come to you, you just wait till they're already coming that direction, and you kind of, this is my theory, you move a little bit because they're attracted to motion, but when they start walking towards you at any time of the day or night, put a word to it. If they happen to walk over to you and lay down, say the word down. And it honestly works. You can train your dog to all your English commands by giving the command when they do or perform the behavior. The problem is your pup's like 10 months old before it's fully trained, because it goes kind of slow. So there's ways to speed that up, but it still comes down to the same thing: mark the behavior.
Mark the behavior.
Yeah. And
go easy on the discipline.
Elaborate, please.
I was telling Butch before we started this tonight, except for one incident in the last basically 2 months, I have not been bit by my puppy. I've been bit by everybody else's puppies, but not mine. And I screwed up one day. I was in the house.
Yeehaw! We got a puppy in the house. What happened?
What happened, Chaos?
Whoosh! Boy, I hope they know the solid follows that. She just pulled a flirt pole over on top of her, folks.
Hi, honey. And I forget where we were.
Well,
I'm getting bit.
Yeah.
It was my screw up in the house with her, and I took a really good tooth to the muscle in the palm of my hand, and it hurt. It hurt really bad, and I popped her on the nose for it instantly, and I set my own training back with her probably 3 or 4 days. I ended up, as soon as I've done it, I realize I've screwed up. I sat on the floor with a thing of dog treats. She got half a bag of dog treats in one session. But she didn't want to have anything to do with me after I called her to me after I smacked her. Bad move. Don't do it.
Yeah.
We do not discipline the puppies like that. The worst we should be doing is scruffing them for a bite. It's positive behavior.
Right. And if we always talk about the boy and his dog, right? And although in today's world we talk about the boy, girl, and their dog or whatever.
Right.
Kids have a rapport with dogs, undoubtedly, and I think that's a whole lot of it. They just talk to each other. They just communicate with each other. The kid doesn't judge the dog, doesn't expect anything from the dog, and so they get along. There's no discipline on either part, so they just learn to respect each other. This goes way back. This little phrase I'm fixing to use, I think the first time I saw it, I have one of the books I have is a 1915 or 1914 book by the greatest bear hunter in America at the time. He had Teddy Roosevelt, took him on hunts in New Mexico, and he wrote a book on how to train bear hunting dogs. And the language is a little different than we speak today, but in his opening chapter, he says that all dogs are born trying to please a man. Well, that's a man or woman today. We got man or woman, right?
We want to be politically correct.
Yes. So he says if you'll take these hard-headed hounds and let them know when you're happy with what they did, that's all you ever have to do. And that was, I think it was 1914 when that book was written.
I'll be darned.
So, and this is a man who's using his dogs to hunt bears and counting on those dogs to keep the bear from getting him. So he better be pretty sure about what he's doing.
I guess so.
You know, so these are the things that, you know, if we could get more people doing them today, I think we'd all have. But you said something earlier that I want to elaborate on because this is important. Last week I did a little talk about stupid or stubborn. What is your dog? Most people think, you know, my dog's stubborn. A lot of times they either don't understand or they got something else that they're interested in. They're not stubborn. So how do you know when your dog ignores you if he's ignoring you and doesn't want to do it? In other words, flipping you a dew claw. Or maybe he didn't hear you in the first place. Kate just gave a perfect example, didn't even realize it. You were asking Chaos to do something, she wouldn't do it, and you, by way of following puppy culture, you did not repeat the command. Right. You just left her to do what she wanted to do.
With the crate.
Yep. And then when you came back,
she sat on my way across the room.
So when you give your dog a command, it ignores you. If you go ahead and ignore the dog back, when you come back, if that dog follows that command, you now know, I heard you, I thought about it, and I decided to blow you off.
Right.
Whereas if you came back and the dog looked at you and just walked up and did nothing, then you know you didn't communicate to the dog what they should have known, or you didn't say it properly or something. They didn't hear you.
Right.
So I think if more people would follow that little system of discovering their dog before they, you know.
I think you'll find with these pups that if they're not doing what you asked, it's your fault. Let's just cut to the chase, okay?
I love it, yes.
And Butch knows, I mean, I periodically, you know, call Butch and say, okay, this is what I'm trying to do, and I have absolutely no success with it. And he'll give me the world's simplest answer, and I'm always surprised that I was so stupid I couldn't figure it out on my own. It's happened repeatedly over the last 4 years that I've been hanging out with Butch on this stuff. If your dog's not doing something you want him to do, you've confused your puppy, you're giving him mixed signals, just make it clear and concise. It's like talking to a teenager. Make it clear and concise. And don't repeat yourself.
Yeah.
You know, if they don't get it right, I walk away.
I love it. Yep.
I've had the best success with that.
Yep.
And you know, and truthfully, it's the same thing with Harmony. You know,
that's the mother of this pup, by the way. So
Harmony gets it right 99.9% of the time, but there's always follow through.
Right.
And I'm not opposed to crating her if she's being a jerk.
Right.
You know, or she's doing something she shouldn't. We work. With your puppies, one of the easiest things to do, and I've had a lot of friends that have, not really dog friends, okay, not dog trainers or anything like that say, how did you get your dog to do this? And it was one of the first things that Butch taught me is, my dogs don't eat without doing something. They work for their food. They work for breakfast, they work for dinner, they work for snacks. Right now, ours is crate. Even though she goes by way of the couch to get into her crate, she's still going directly to the crate when she hears me say it.
Yeah.
And we work maybe 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at night, or maybe 3 5-minute sessions, 4 5-minute sessions, every single day with heeling, sit, down, all the basic commands.
How old is she?
14 weeks.
14
She'll
weeks.
be 15 weeks tomorrow.
Knows all the basic command, folks. That's what you can do with this program.
And it was, truthfully, it's really pretty easy if you put the effort in, and it doesn't take a lot of effort. It just takes follow through on your part. So when before you put a bowl of dog food down, make that dog work for it. I've had Harmony, 3 years?
3 years, yeah.
And she still works for her dinner every single day. And even my little dogs, which I'll be the first to admit, I've got 3 small idiots at my house. But they all are catching on because everybody else has to work for
They're
food.
Chihuahuas.
Yeah, they don't do anything on command. Nothing, except maybe sleep. But they're all catching on because of me training Harmony in the house or working with Chaos in the house.
Right.
I lock Harmony up when I'm working with Chaos in the house. But now I've got 3 little dogs following me around that all sit on command.
Whoa. All of them?
Yeah, in high hopes that they'll get a treat too. So it works. Positive reinforcement.
That's right. And that's incidental training at its highest form, I might say. That's Chihuahuas doing that. So anyway, I hope if you'll take away from this nothing else but, mark the behavior, mark it in a positive manner. When your pups are growing up, that's not the time to be knocking them around.
Remember, these Western Shepherds are really sensitive dogs. Don't do it.
Yeah, that's the other thing. And that's a whole other story. But you don't want to really hurt a Western Shepherd's feelings.
No.
They're sensitive, but they're really powerful. So, if you have any questions about puppies, please list them there. Anything we can do, and I'll have Kate answer for you. We'll have her back here in a couple of weeks as Miss Chaos gets a little bit older and older. We're going to let her demonstrate and watch how the growing goes. So, thank you, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next week.
Good night.